In this video, I'm going to showcase some mind-blowing puzzles. You will see some crazy stalemates, under promotion, and a crazy queen sacrifice. Now feel free to pause the puzzles in the beginning and solve them yourselves. Although I have to warn you guys, they're very, very difficult, and probably without an engine, I wouldn't be able to solve them myself. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Now, if you guys end up liking this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe. I'm hoping to get 1,000 subscribers in my first year of making YouTube, so that would be insane. And yeah, again, enjoy the video. The first puzzle is all about stalemate, one of my favorite concepts in chess. Now in this case, we have to avoid stalemate with the black pieces. So the first move white will make is to give us a check, and here we have to move to g3. And the reason why is because if we go to the right side of the board, white will be able to keep checking us down, and this is simply a draw. So we have to go to g3 instead. So king to g3. And here, the first real stalemate trick begins, which is a rook to b8. Now the point here, of course, is if we take the rook, it's stalemate right away. And it also prevents us from giving a checkmate. Right, this would be checkmate if white cannot take the rook, but they can. And white is also, well, giving us a second problem here, because if we move the rook, which is necessary, because we don't want to lose the rook here, we play g4 for example, it's even winning for white. Well, if you move the rook, for example, one square to the left to c2, white can start giving checks. And this is very unpleasant because now we cannot really make progress anymore. Even if you hide behind the pawn and white plays rook to b5, well, there's not much for us to do. We cannot give this check because white can take the pawn. And besides that, now of course we cannot push this pawn either. So we don't really want to allow this. So we have to play... See, we have to play rook f2 instead here. And the reason why is that now if white gives a check, we can actually block the check. And now the second stalemate trap for white is to actually move the rook simply one square to the left to c3. And again, we cannot take this rook because it's stalemate. White cannot move the king anywhere. And it's also not a check, so it's stalemate. So here we have to play g4, the only move here. And here white can pose another stalemate trick, which is to take the rook. Now here, if we take with the pawn, it's stalemate again, because the king still cannot move. So we have to take back with our own king. And now it seems simply winning, right? Because, well, white has to move out of the way. And, well, it looks like we can give this check, first of all, or we can actually play this to promote our pawn. But we cannot actually, because if we play king to f2, it's stalemate again, because the king again has no squares. This pawn prevents the king from running down the board. And also if we play g3, the king goes back here and still, not really stalemate, but still a draw, because here we have to move our king, and wherever we go, let's say to the side, well, white can simply take here. And even if we try to defend this pawn on g3, white can still take, and this is something called opposition here, so there's no way for black to really make progress. White will simply shadow our king, and the moment we push our pawn, let's see, we actually even, yeah, we cannot even really push our pawn here, because if we do so, white will go here, and it's still stalemate, right? Because the only move that defends our pawn leads to stalemate, and otherwise white will simply take the pawn and it's still a draw. So let's go back. The move here that is the only winning move right around here is to actually give a check. Ooh, wait a minute. Right here, we have to give a check. And the reason why is that when the white king takes, we create opposition. And now we can actually win this game, because if the king moves to f1, we can simply go here. And now, actually the engine didn't agree first of all, but now it also sees a checkmate. Now white cannot stop our promotion, and we will simply win the game. We can promote to a queen, and from this point on, it's pretty easy checkmate. Now the second puzzle at first glance seems kind of easy, but there are a lot of tricks here. Now it's white to move and win. And it seems kind of easy, right? We just have to promote our pawn here. And even if black does the same, right here, we can give a check on the side of the board here, or even on f6, and now black has to move the king, of course, and we can trade queens. And this, of course, is a completely winning pawn endgame. But it isn't that easy, because black has a little trick here, which is to play king takes b3. And now if we take the queen, it's actually stalemate again, another stalemate. So this is actually a draw. So instead of promoting to a queen, we do something very fancy. We underpromote to a bishop here. We actually promote to a bishop here, and now if black still promotes to a queen, which is basically the only try, we can still give this check. Now on f6, of course, we cannot give the check on h8. Again, now if black takes the pawn, it isn't stalemate anymore, and we have a winning pawn endgame. We're up a bishop. This should be very easy. And of course, if black decides, well, you can have my queen, this again is the same pawn endgame, which is still very winning. But a very nice kind of tactic here. You have to realize you cannot actually promote to a queen. It's one of the rare occasions where you have to underpromote. Now the final puzzle I'm going to show is the most insane one. Even here the engine doesn't realize it's white to move and win, but after a couple of moves it will realize that. But it shows how complex this puzzle is. So it's white to move and win. Now the first move we have to make is b6. Checking the king, driving the king backwards. And now we have a little bit of a problem, because it looks like black can simply promote this pawn on the next move. There's no way for us to prevent promotion. We cannot play rook to h4 because the knight controls the square, and the same goes for rook to e1. The knight controls the square as well. But we still play rook e1. Very nice. Because here, of course, if black promotes, we can simply take. That's easy enough. But if the knight takes, we actually go into a sequence which is winning for us. Because here we can push the pawn. We allow black to promote. We promote ourselves. And here black has to block the check with his bishop here, with their bishop. And we play a7 here to threaten checkmate. Now for a second, okay, very quickly, sorry, I'm going to show why we have to sacrifice the rook and why we cannot go into the same sequence with the rook simply on e4 and allowing promotion anyways. Because here, if you play g7 right away and we allow black to promote, we can go into the same sequence. But the problem here is that after we threaten checkmate, black can start giving checks. And it's actually perpetual check here. Black can keep on checking us and there's no way for us to escape the checks. So when we play rook e1 here and we allow the knight to take our rook and we go into the same sequence, the main difference here, the only difference really, is that now after a7 there's no check. Black cannot give the check on a1 because the knight blocks it, the knight which took the rook. Very, very nice, of course. So what to do for black here? Black can still try some things, because now they can, for example, give a check. We will take. And here it seems like black can now give some checks by taking this pawn. But here we have a very, very nice move. You might have seen it on the thumbnail, of course. It's queen to g5, sacrificing the queen. Now the pointer is that if black takes the queen, we go up and there are no checks anymore. Now the reason why we have to sacrifice the queen in the first place here is that now if we go to, a6, black does have the checks, right? They can go to, for example, to e2, to go down, and here again it's perpetual check. There's no way for us to actually escape the checks. And by sacrificing our queen here, maybe yes, one move back of course, and we go up, there are no checks anymore. So now we're actually threatening checkmate on a couple different ways. So the only try for black is to take this pawn here, sacrificing a bishop here. And very important here is that we don't want to take this bishop. We're down so much material that we only are going for checkmate at this point, of course. So here we don't want to take this bishop. We want to go for checkmate here, basically, right? So we're going to go here. Now the point is, of course, to go for checkmate. And the only try for black is to play queen to d5. Now any other move, for example, if black wants to stop promotion here, we can simply push this pawn and still checkmate. So that doesn't work. The move queen to d5 prevents this move, but it allows us to make a queen. Here black can block and we can simply deliver a pawn check. Now black is forced to take this pawn, otherwise, well, they don't have any other moves basically. And here it's finally checkmate. Now thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions about the puzzles or some things are not very clear, because of course they're very complex and I might have missed something, make sure to ask me in the comments, I will look it up. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.